Hey there, guys. TC Made with New Jersey Fargo League bringing you your match report for week ending 6/18/2023. In first place, we have Smoking and Poking with 1320. New Boots in a six pack in second place with 1,222. Sinking and Drinking right behind them at 1217. Don't Touch My Balls in fourth place at 1176. Highballs right behind them at 1168, and Bagful of Hammers in sixth place with 1159. I wanted to tell you real quick too, on some of these matches when you guys have a win by forfeit in there, again we adjust the win by forfeit to a 10-3 score, so the WF counts as 10 points. The other 3 points is for the forfeit on the opposite team. But we also, two things happen. When you put in a win by forfeit, it does not count against or for the player that has the forfeit match because they never actually played anybody. But the other thing that has to happen too is I have to go into the scores, and I'll show you in here, like on our last 6/18 match. I believe it was New Boots in a six pack playing Bagful of Hammers. They had a win by forfeit here in the first two rounds. So what I have to do in order to balance this out for the handicap points is I have to go in and adjust the players to match the handicaps. Otherwise, what would happen is Megan's originally down here like in the 260s or whatever. This would end up benefiting them by putting her in that handicap spot, and never actually shot the match. So what you do is you equal these out, and I have to do this back on my end. You can't do it in the app, but I equal these out, and what it does is it zeroes out the handicap differential between these two so that there is no offset. Basically what it means is that your handicap differential is being set against the 526, the 470, the 564, and the 470 versus the 524, 431, 462, and 467 in this first round. Then what I do is I come down here and I do the same thing. So in this case where Henry Wright had the forfeit against Megan here in this round, it's just picking an arbitrary name. So if I set this to 524, that would fix the handicap there. Now you'll see it adjusted to whatever the last number is when it opens up. But down at the bottom of this, that actually corrects everything. So it's 171 to 193 was the overall match score for that. And I have to do that in order to not penalize the player who had the forfeit, also not to credit the player who earned the forfeit, and also to balance out any discrepancies with the scores that would come from inaccurate matchups. The system's not smart enough to not score that match with the Fargo rates yet. I know they're planning on doing something to fix that. With that being said, again, there's your standings out here, and your upcoming matches. You have Smoking and Poking versus Sinking and Drinking, Bagful of Hammers versus Highballs, and Don't Touch My Balls versus New Boots in a six pack. And the actual locations for those, again, are out here on this League Lobster thing that I put in for a link on there. So what you should see is in week 7, I think that is, yeah, June 25th, you're going to have Bagful of Hammers versus Highballs. At AJ's, Don't Touch My Balls, New Boots, and a six pack at AJ's, and then Smoking and Poking versus Sinking and Drinking at Scooters. And again, I'll publish this all up there with the links and everything for the overall handicaps. I did get in some of the patches. I mentioned that last week. I went around and distributed those to everybody who had them. If you have additional patches that come in to your score sheets from here on out, just make sure you mark it somewhere on your envelope or whatever. Just write up, break and run or whatever. I can see it come up in the matches too and see if it's a new player. I go through and I check your score sheets just to make sure everything's in there right. What else do we have in here? As far as other things to mention, in the playoffs, if you go to the Play BCA website, which is where it basically takes you to CSI, Q Sports International, and you go into this setup down here, there's a whole thing in here for, I think it's under the rules. If you go under the official rules of Q Sports International, they have in here for tournament regulations. And I think in the tournament regulations, the way that they actually do this, if you look in here, is that they have a 3-round match. And whoever the winner is at the end of the 3 rounds, which is basically 15 games, is who wins the tournament for that night. That way you don't have to play all 25 games. Now, my recommendation is that we do it the same way that they do it in Las Vegas, so that when we eventually start to play Vegas rounds or in higher level tournaments or anything in the local area, if you're playing Atlantic City or any of the other matches against teams who use the same scoring formats, that everybody's kind of in the same in the same format. But we can talk about that. I want to have a meeting with the captains prior to the playoffs. We were talking about doing 5 rounds. I was talking about doing at any point you get to the number where you can no longer win the match, that it would be over. But I think it makes sense to just do the 3 rounds. Winner at the end of 3 rounds is the winner. And I can get all that stuff together to go over it with everybody. But again, we should have a captain's meeting to discuss that and make sure everybody's on the same page. And then what we'll do is at the end of the session, we're going to have everybody get together and we're going to hand out all of the payouts for first, second, third, and fourth. Well, actually, first through sixth. Again, your fourth, fifth, and sixth place all make at least $100, and then first is like $800. Second, I think, is around $400, and third's probably $250. And then we'll determine what the draw is for the wild card. The wild card will verse Team 3 in the standings. The winner of those 2 will play against the second place team, and the winner of those 2 matches will play against the winners of first place. And the winners of first place will have double elimination, and anybody else who's coming in only has a single elimination. And those teams will be playing for an additional $500 prize pool in the final spot. I also want to do, just for the fun of it, we'll see how it goes, but just for the fun of it, if you go into the reports section in here and you look at the players, remember we have our break-in runs and our table runs in here. So what I want to do is on anybody who has break-in runs, which you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like 6 players here. And then table runs is another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with, I think there's an overlap in here for one of the players. So you got like 10 or 11 players right now that have break-in runs and table runs. So what I would like to do is at the end of the session, I want to hold a tournament for anybody who has a break-in run and a table run. We're going to put those guys into their own tournament. And I'm going to add probably like $100-$150 for a first place prize for that. And I'm also going to include a break cue. So it's like a 20 or 21 ounce break cue or whatever that will be included as part of that. So you'll win like $150 to break cue for first place in that tournament. We'll get the details of that all specced out and when it's going to be. But I think that's a nice incentive for the break and runs and table run players to do that. And we'll also probably have a break and run pot at like $20 a ball or something just to make it even more interesting. So keep shooting. Again, the way that this plays, if you're a higher handicap shooter, what you need to do is win as many racks as you can, make as many balls as you can without letting your opponent score, try and minimize the damage that they can do to you by having a handicap advantage plus making balls. So if you're a high handicap shooter playing safeties, you should be walking away with the table with, little chance of actually having a run out occur against you. But if a low handicap shooter who's getting handicap points wins a rack, not only are they getting the 10 points for winning the rack, they're also getting that handicap score. So, you could feasibly be pretty lopsided some nights if you're not shooting well and you're not playing good safeties and trying to lock that table down. You're going to end up in a world of hurt in the back end of that thing. So just keep in mind, the easiest way to win in this particular format is to shoot your best pool and play your best safeties. The incentive is there for that with the money. And the prize payouts or whatever, it's not a league where laying down or holding back is worth anything. So hopefully, everything, everybody's having fun. I've been out to a couple of the matches on the weekends. I drop by and everybody seems to be really enjoying themselves. So hopefully that's the trend. If you guys get a chance, leave some comments in the channel or whatever, and let me know how things are going. If you have any suggestions or rules clarifications you need help with or whatever, let me know. And also on the 24th of June here, let me go to the Facebook page real quick. On June the 24th, just a reminder that we have a Fargo Fast Rack 8-ball chip tourney with a $35 break and run pot. That's going to be Saturday the 24th at AJ's Tavern at 2 p.m. Please go in here and tell me that you're going so that I know that I have enough people to actually hold the event. And what this is, I put all the information in here. You'll find this in the channel under events, or you can scroll down and see where I posted it. But if you look at this, what it basically is you have 4 high balls and 4 low balls with the 8-ball in the middle. It's racked just like a 9-ball rack, and you break, and then you take your choice of either lows or highs. You run the 4 balls of your group and make the 8-ball, and you win. If you lose, you go back into the draw pile. You lose one of your chips. and the winner stays at the table and racks for the incoming player. So your Fargo ratings determine how many chips you'll get. Most of our higher handicap shooters in our division end up with about 4 chips, and the lower handicaps end up with about 8 chips. And a lot of the shooters are somewhere in between those. So those are the bookends, really, is the 4 to 8. But what that means is you're going to get at least 4 losses or 8 losses, and plenty of play out of that. And again, we have the break and run tournament at the very beginning at $35 a ball for the break and run. So please, if you're going to go to this, I know there's other events happening during the same day, and I can't control that. I just have to book what I can when it's available. So I'm going to try and hold these on Saturdays at 2. For the next couple of months, I'm going to try and sneak some in there, but I know there's other things that you guys need to be able to do also, like APA qualifiers and stuff of that nature, and I don't want to conflict with things that you guys are also invested in that way, so we'll try and work something out where we can get some common tournaments in here and have everybody have an opportunity to make a little bit extra money on the side. So please sign up for that. And I hope to see you guys there. Again, my name's TC Mabe with New Jersey Fargo League. This is your match report for week ending 6/18/2023. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you in the upcoming matches.